Hi there, and welcome to week one of EdTech537, Blogging in the Classroom. I'm glad you're still with us after going through the syllabus and some of the introductory materials. These introductory videos that I post for each of the weeks are just designed to give you sort of an overview of what it is that you're going to be working on in the coming week. I'll be honest with you and say that the first couple of weeks of the course are a little slow getting started, and that's largely in part because each of you are sort of entering the course at different points in time in terms of at least your ability and familiarity with blogging. Some of you already have blogs created and you're just looking at how you can use them within an educational context. Others of you have never blogged before in the past. So you've got to go right from square one and deciding what blogging platform to use and how to go about creating a blog. So the first couple of weeks, for those of you that may be a little bit more advanced, you may find it a little bit slow in getting started, and I'll ask that you bear with us. For those of you that are brand new, that are novices to this topic, I think you'll find that the pace is one that will allow you to really explore some of these ideas and some of the tools that we've got available to you. So looking ahead for this particular week, the first thing that I'll mention is that there are a series of readings that you're asked to do, 3 in particular. These readings, and in future weeks I'll sort of go through and talk a little bit about each one. This week I just want to say that they're really just designed to give you a sense as to how blogging can be used in an educational context, specifically within a classroom context, with a little bit of overview of just blogging in general. One of the things that I'll be honest with you up front is that in many instances, the blogs that you are actually writing, at least the entries that you're writing on your blog, they aren't designed to be a direct reflection of the readings. In most cases, the blog entries that I ask you to write will be totally void of any specific context to the readings. The readings are designed as sort of a parallel or a supplement idea to give you some of the sort of both practical and theoretical or research basis for how to think about and how to go about blogging, and your actual blogging is more of the applied part of it. So if you sort of look at it in terms of, well, I don't want to do the readings because, or, I should be doing readings because they're the things I'm going to be commenting on. If you sort of go into it with that kind of mindset, I'm going to be honest with you and say that you'll probably be a bit disappointed with the way in which the readings are used. If you approach each of these readings with the idea that it's designed to give you this idea of a broader context around blogging so that you've got sort of these 2 parallel paths going. The readings that are sort of giving you this broader idea and, these big think kind of perspectives, while the actual blog entries that you write, that you'll be producing each week or participating in each week, are more designed to give you the applied aspect of it, so the doing kind of thing. And if you look at those 2 things as moving you forward, I think you'll find that the readings will be very beneficial. So you really want to sort of approach these readings appropriately. And like I say, the 3 that you've got this particular week, they are primarily just sort of introducing you to the topic and introducing you to the context. For those of you that have been blogging for a bit, in many instances, some of this stuff may already be familiar to you. So the main task this week, or I guess the big task this week, is to create your actual blog. Now, there are 3 main platforms that I've recommended to you, and there are advantages and disadvantages to each, and you'll see that the content that you've got within Moodle will provide you with some of the advantages and disadvantages of each of the tools, at least from my perspective. I've also got a number of links that I've put into the course that are designed to sort of allow you to get a sense as to how others compare these particular tools. I'll be honest with you and say that personally I started off as a Blogger person, and that was actually before Blogger was owned by Google. and I eventually switched over to WordPress because at the time WordPress offered a lot more functionality than Blogger did, although right now, in all honesty, there's not a lot of difference between any of these platforms. For those of you in the K-12 context, or that plan on using your blog primarily in the K-12 environment, I will put in a bit of a plug for EduBlogs. EduBlogs is specifically designed for educators and their students, both in the K-12 and higher ed context. And within the K-12 environment, when we're looking at some of these tools, one of the things we always have to be concerned about is what's going to be filtered by our school, depending upon how liberal or how conservative your school's filtering policy is. Blogger is one that might be filtered out. WordPress might even be filtered out, whereas EduBlogs, because it is 100% driven by educational purposes, that's one that even if it is filtered initially, you can usually make a strong case to your administration and particularly your tech people that it should be released from the filter. So I will put in a bit of a plug for EduBlogs if you're within the K-12 environment, just because it may be a little bit easier for you to manage. Now, EduBlogs itself runs off of a WordPress platform, so it actually is using the WordPress tools. It's just using it specifically within the EduBlogs domain. So that's one of the advantages of that particular one. Once you've decided upon what platform you're going to use and you've actually created your blog, there are really three tasks, if you will, that I'd like you to do this week. The first is to create a page. And your page is going to be your About Me page, where you're going to describe a little bit about yourself, who you are, why you're doing this, that kind of thing. And then you're just going to write an initial entry. Now, for most of the blogging platforms, when you start a blog, there's going to be actually a initial entry that's already done for you. And it's often called My First Entry or My First Post. And it's just a templated one that's in there. You want to delete that one first, because it basically just says, this is my first blog entry. And it's automatically created when you create your blog. So you want to go in and delete that first, and then just go in and, post an entry that sort of says what you want your blog to be about, or what you plan on blogging about for the coming semester. For example, thinking ahead in terms of, if you are going to continue your blog after this summer semester is done, what are you going to use it for? For me, my blog is primarily about my research interests. So I focus specifically upon K-12 distance education. So I post items that are related to K-12 distance education. So in my first entry, I sort of outlined what I wanted to do with my blog and how I plan to use my blog. There are people in the class that have looked at it before, and they've created personal blogs. Where it's a personal interest of them. I know one student, I think last year or the year before, did a photography blog. Another one did a blog that was sort of a help site with SharePoint. I've had other students that have created blogs that they're going to use with their classes. So each week they're posting different things for, I know one from last semester, or last summer, sorry, was looking at AP World History. So each week she posts something for her AP World History class that, sort of guides them throughout the course. So in her first entry, she talked about how this was going to be a tool that she was going to use with her AP World History students. The third thing that you're going to do is you're going to create a blog roll. And this is just a series of links that's in, one of either the left or right hand navigation bar, depending upon how your template is set up, that lists off other blogs that you're essentially linking to that are thematically related to yours. So go out onto the Google blog search and search for some other blogs that have the same kind of theme. So if you're doing a photography blog, search for other blogs that focus upon photography and add those in there. If you're doing something, that's for a math class, look for other teachers that are blogging about math and include those in your blog roll. So that's basically week one in a nutshell. If you've got any questions, please, contact me, email me, and let me know. And as you go through, this video is designed to give you sort of an overview of what's going to happen this week. I'd also encourage you, I think the last link for this week in Moodle is this weekly checklist, which sort of gives you a list of the individual activities that you've got to complete and an approximate date on which I would like them due by, or I'd like them completed by. So you want to use this video in conjunction with that particular checklist as a way of sort of guiding your activities for the next 7 days.